Hello. As U.S. Ambassador to Turkey, it's a pleasure to virtually join the Gaziantep Gastrofest this year. This year's Gastrofest is a testament to your resilience as a community, as well as your rich cultural heritage. On behalf of the U.S. mission to Turkey, we are so pleased to have with us the famous American chef and humanitarian Jose Andres. After building a culinary legacy of top-rated restaurants, Chef Andres founded World Central Kitchen, which is a nonprofit organization that provides fresh, locally produced food to survivors in disaster areas. Chef Andres visited Gaziantep after the earthquakes, working with Turkish chefs and deepening his love for your food and for the region. I saw how Turkish and American volunteers worked side by side when I joined my team to serve a meal in Islahiye. Chef Andres is joining us from New York, where he's participating in events on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Chef Andres, thank you for speaking with us.
Hello, Ambassador Flake. Here, your friend Jose Andres, and I'm ready for you, my friend.
Chef Andres, can you tell us what inspired you to found World Central Kitchen? And how has it changed your perspective on cuisine?
Well, listen, the inspiration of World Central Kitchen didn't happen just 1 second that, hey, let's do World Central Kitchen. This was a whole bunch of things. Many moments that I got inspired to make sure that restaurants and chefs like me, that we feed the few in the good times, we were able to unite and feed the many in the not so good times. And I still remember probably Katrina, what happened at the Superdome, a place that I didn't go and I wish I did. Even many years later, I was able to go to New Orleans and help with World Central Kitchen team, and in a way to put in practice everything we were thinking that could be possible. The Superdome, we had thousands of Americans without food and water for days. When actually, if you think about it, the Superdome is not a venue for sports or concerts, but is, if you think about it, a gigantic restaurant that entertains with the sports. We were supposed to feed everybody in the first hour, no problem. I realized that we have a big network of farmers, of restaurants, of chefs, of food people, of volunteers that want to do something in an emergency, that they don't want to be at home watching the horror in their phones or on their TVs, that they want to be helpful. And with that power of people willing to help, the only thing we had to do was organize. And this is very much the inspiration. 2010, the earthquake in Haiti hit. I was not too far away in the Cayman Islands, and I thought, man, I'm not going to watch again. I'm going to go. And I'm going to go not to help, but to learn, because to help others, you need to learn how to help them. And Haiti was the place I began with the help of a Spanish NGO that was very active in Haiti before the earthquake. They knew very well Haiti. And I began cooking in some camps of all the refugees that they were living the horrors of the destruction that Port-au-Prince saw on that 2010 earthquake. And with that power of food, I saw that the community only wants to help, that people don't want our pity, they want our respect. The best way to give them respect is showing up. And in our case, what we do is food and water. And we use the local people and the local infrastructure to do it as fast and as quick as we can. Because food and water, you will agree with me, cannot wait a month. The urgency of now is yesterday. This is very much how World Central Kitchen began.
Could you tell us about your experience in Gaziantep after the February 6th earthquakes in Turkey?
Well, Gaziantep was a fascinating experience because we met an amazing family and Turkish foundation that they put at our service everything they had and all the know-how. Gaziantep is one of the culinary capitals of the world, and I have a Turkish restaurant, but I've been in some parts of Turkey, mainly in Istanbul, but never I traveled Turkey like I did during the earthquake, which very much in the first 4 days I was able to go all around the destruction and visiting some of the 10 biggest cities and many other towns. In real time, seeing the need, and in real time start opening restaurants with the World Central Kitchen team and the many Turkish people that joined our efforts. We were one. World Central Kitchen didn't do it. The people of Turkey did it. The people of Gaziantep did it. And for us it was amazing because we were able to take care of the people where they were in need. People that were living in the streets because we're too afraid to go into the buildings. Buying from local farmers when we could, partnering with local restaurants that they were willing to help. But we were bringing the know-how that World Central Kitchen has, and making sure that we didn't only cook, but that also we were looking for those communities that maybe were forgotten. I think everybody in Turkey should be so proud, and especially in Gaziantep, because I saw so many chefs and people just doing what they know how to do, which is food. Not everybody worked with us, but we were all having the same spirit. Obviously, in these emergencies, you need to organize it almost like a restaurant. You need to be there to give service and to give good service. We treat people in emergencies like if we were opening the best restaurant in the world. They deserve our respect by showing up, by telling them at what time we arrive, by listening what they need, and in the process making sure that we don't do what we think is best, but that we listen to the people that tell us what they really need from us. At the end, I was very proud of all the effort from government, local NGOs, but more especially the people who are the ones making it happen. People that decide not to stay home, but to do something for their fellow citizens. The spirit I saw in Gaziantep was unbelievable. I was very happy that we moved the headquarters fairly quickly from Adana, which for us was the perfect place to start. But then we moved almost like our headquarters, obviously, in Gaziantep. That very much was in the heart of everything was going on all around Turkey, including all the aid we were able to provide also in the northern part, in Syria, in a moment that Syria was going already through a lot of hardships because war and other issues, but that I was very happy that also we partner with Turkish NGOs, that they were very active, thanks God, inside Syria. And in this very difficult time, we were able to also do a lot of food aid in the northern cities of Syria. So Gaziantep, what I cannot just wait is to go back and just experience one of the most fascinating culinary cities, not in Turkey, not in Europe, but anywhere around the world.
What are your impressions of Gaziantep cuisine and food culture?
Well, I mean, listen, Turkish gastronomy, without a doubt, is one of the powerhouses of food in the world. I have a feeling like you can be traveling all your life across Turkey, and you will never be able to learn every single dish, because every village, every family, they have recipes of recipes and variations of recipes of recipes. And this, to me, is what is fascinating about Turkey. Turkey, in the history, has been in a very amazing location that very much served as the middle point between different civilizations across tens of thousands of kilometers, and everybody went through Turkey. That's why centuries later, obviously, Turkey has become today what it is. And that's why I'm very proud in Washington, and I'm inviting everybody, and in New York, to have, and don't get upset with me, but a Greek, Turkish, and Lebanese restaurant in one, building longer tables and making believe that is more things that we all have in common than not.
Can you tell us what you've learned about access to food from World Central Kitchen's humanitarian assistance in disaster zones?
Well, obviously we are not an organization that per se fight hunger long term. We are an organization that we are trying and specialize in being there at the beginning of the emergency, because it is the darkest hour. It's when people need you the most. And sometimes I feel like food is always an afterthought. And what a better thing than provide aid with local source foods, with local source volunteers and teams of chefs and people that distribute the food that know their land, they know their people, where everybody always has an answer to every problem because everybody knows their city, knows their region. And this is something very important. The humanitarian aid must change. We cannot be helping countries when something massive happens, sending huge quantities of food from one part of the world, sometimes rich countries, which they try to do good. But if you are sending huge amounts of food and you're feeding the population for many weeks and sometimes months for free, and nobody is buying from the local farmers, in a way you are putting those farmers almost out of a job. All of a sudden, those farmers who were doing okay, even when we know that farming is complicated business, and farmers sometimes they go through hardships trying to make their business successful. The worst can happen in a humanitarian situation is that we stop buying from them because we put them out of business. Therefore, humanitarian aid needs to change into these models where we are able to access, when possible, the resources that are locally available to us, helping the economy in the process by buying from farmers locally, by employing in the emergency people locally. In the process, that humanitarian aid is already in a way helping rebuild the economies in the process of the reconstruction. I think this is something World Central Kitchen we are learning what to do better and better every time. We're still a small organization, but I hope in the years to come, World Central Kitchen, if needed, will grow as big as needed. But obviously not having such a big team that we don't understand, but the right team that just can join the local communities and create huge armies of food fighters, armies of good just to feed. Sometimes only 2 or 3 people show up in a country, and by partnering with the locals, we were able to create systems that we could feed tens of thousands of meals a day. This is what I hope we will create more and more, not only what World Central Kitchen do, but also hopefully convincing other organizations bigger than us to apply the same methods, not in theory, but in reality.
Thank you, Jose, for sharing your time and your insights with us. I hope we can welcome you back to Turkey one day soon to share some of the most incredible cuisine in the world.
Ambassador Flake, thank you very much. Your questions were thoughtful. You are a person that I love because you do care for the world. You are an unbelievably committed person that is leaving a huge legacy, and I cannot wait to be next to you and give you a big hug and keep dreaming about how together we can make sure that food becomes a national security issue, that governments in America and around the world and in Turkey gives the real importance that food deserves, that food should stop being the problem, but that food should be the solution. The solution to create jobs, the solution to empower smart farming, to make sure that the people that produce the food are able to feed themselves. Food to solve the problems of health and obesity that we face. Food that solves the problems in a planet that produces more than what we can eat, so there we have no more hunger in the world, where every single children in the school deserves decent food, that even if they are coming from low-income families, they deserve a plate of food so those children can grow into smart citizens that can keep moving their cities and their countries and their economies forward. Food where we can be providing to refugees around the world, food that is able to combat climate change because we are going to be producing smarter. Food that is also smart produced by the way we are using water. At the end, my friend, food, without a doubt, is at the heart of moving the planet forward. Therefore, every single president in every single country must have a national security food advisor next to him to make sure that we are able to go ahead on the problems and find the solutions. So food and longer tables is what keep moving humanity forward. And to all my friends in Turkey, and especially all my friends in Gaziantep, thank you. Thank you very much, because you show me and you show the world what is to be together in difficult moments to help others. Every single person in Gaziantep, obviously the people working with us World Central Kitchen, your family. You know who you are. The people of Turkey, you all should be so proud of you. And I hope I'll be with you very soon. If you invite me again next year, celebrating food, celebrating Turkish cuisine, and celebrating that the world can be better just by sharing. Sometimes a plate of food with a stranger you don't know. Love you guys. Teşekkür ederim.